And here I can tell you that the Americans assumed that because America is a stronger power, because America, in their view, is a more attractive democratic power, more countries would align naturally with United States against China. And this was the hope of President Joe Biden when he became president in January this year. In fact, the Biden administration people said Donald Trump made a big mistake, which is true. Donald Trump alienated the Europeans. Donald Trump alienated the Japanese, alienated the South Koreans. He insulted the Africans. He had no time for ASEAN. And so in that sense, the Biden administration said, oh, Trump made a mistake. He didn't bring the allies together against China. So as you know, Joe Biden administration is trying to bring the allies back and cultivate the friendly countries. And that's why Vice President Kamala Harris came to Singapore this morning. That's why I was there. This is part of the effort to bring back the friends and allies to join the Americans against China. But what the Americans are hearing wherever they go, they say, yes, we want to have good ties with United States, but we also want to have good ties with China. So unlike in the Cold War, where there were many countries like the Europeans supported United States against the Soviet Union, Japan supported the United States against Soviet Union, South Korea supported United States against Soviet Union, even third world countries like Egypt, Pakistan, and I think even Indonesia was much closer to the United States against the Soviet Union, you know. So everybody, many countries were on America's side. But today, in the geopolitical contest between US and China, very few countries are supporting the United States. I don't know of any country that openly says, oh, we are 100% with you, United States, against China. I think no country says that. I mean, to some extent, the current Australian government is doing that, but even within Australia, there's a lot of nervousness about where Australia is heading vis-a-vis China. So therefore, if the United States thought that it could get lots of countries to join it against China, then they are making a mistake. But at the same time, they want to maintain close ties with the United States. But they just don't want the United States to ask them to choose. And I think that's more or less the position of all the 10 ASEAN countries, even though some ASEAN countries are closer to the United States, some ASEAN countries are closer to China. I mean, like Vietnam is closer to the United States, Cambodia is closer to China. But overall, most of them are saying we don't want to take sides in this contest. And then we can discuss during the question and answer what is the right position to take, and we can have a discussion on that. But Mike, let me come to finish the part 5 of my remarks, and then I want to throw the floor open for questions. And as I say, please think of the most difficult questions, because if the question is easy, it's hard to answer. If the question is difficult, it's easy to answer. So think of the most difficult questions. It's also a good habit to have when you are having a discussion in the classroom. Always ask difficult questions. And so let me come to part 5. How do we prevent the worst case scenarios between US and China? And I want to emphasize one thing. In a worst case scenario between US and China, you may have a war, you know. A war means a nuclear war. Now, I hope you all are aware that in a nuclear war, the United States may lose 10 to 15 cities. Millions of people will die. In a nuclear war, China may lose 30 to 35 cities or so. Many people will die. So that's why the US-China geopolitical contest is important. Because if it leads to an all-out war, the whole world will suffer from the nuclear winter. that will follow from a nuclear war. So we have an interest in also preventing a war. And so the question is, how do we do that? And I think there are two things that we need to do. First thing is that we need to persuade United States and persuade China that their number one priority should be to take care of their own people. And if you look at United States, I told you just now the story of how the bottom 50% haven't seen an improvement in their standard of living for 30 years. So why is the United States wasting $1 trillion in Afghanistan instead of sharing it with its own people? Why not spend your money on your own people? And so if the United States focuses on taking care of its own people, and China focuses on taking care of its own people, then they can have a win-win outcome. I know this is common sense, but sometimes common sense is very hard to convey to great powers who are driven by other things. But that is one thing they can do. But the second way in preventing a worst-case outcome is to persuade the United States and persuade China that there are more important global challenges we face today. So for example, COVID-19 is still a major challenge. I mean, the reason why I'm not in Jakarta today talking to all of you in person is because of COVID-19. We cannot travel. In fact, the global economy has slowed down because of COVID-19. So let's bring back, let's come together and fight COVID-19 and kill it completely. And we can do so if US and China cooperate with one another to kill COVID-19. And of course, another global challenge we face, which we haven't mentioned, is climate change. And climate change, as you know, is going to make the world a very difficult place for countries all over the world. And so what we should do, all countries in the world should come together now to fight climate change first. I think that's the message we should be sending to President Joe Biden and President Xi Jinping. So hopefully all the countries speak out with a common voice and say, US and China, please press the pause button in your geopolitical contest. Let us address our common concerns. Let us take care of that. Then we can go back to geopolitics. So I hope I've given you a global overview of what are the biggest challenges in global geopolitics. I look forward now to answering your questions. Thank you.